We begin with tarmac in the Yorkshire Dales at Arco and Dry Rig Quarries next to Swarth Moor, a site of special scientific interest. It's one of the few remaining raised bogs in England. The bog has been disappearing through drainage and farming. Tarmac's restoration will claw back some of this precious habitat, creating 20 hectares of fen habitat by the 2030s. Here, the focus is on re-wetting to join up local populations of the great crested newt.
We have now great crested newts present in all of these ponds, so both populations have now become meta-populations, which means that now there is exchange of individuals between the different ponds, so those populations are now much more consolidated. But it is not only that, because we have now provided habitats to link both populations, they're going to be even more resilient and they're going to grow more and establish a more consolidated community with regional significance.
Tarmac is working with national and regional partners and Leeds University on this project. A boardwalk into the SSSI has allowed safe access for monitoring the site.
This is a really great example of how can we plan our works and avoid impacts over protected species, but not only that, having a positive impact over them, helping them to consolidate the population, making those populations more resilient, and also deliver benefits at landscape scale, delivering bigger and better and more joined-up habitats.
Here in Staffordshire, the Heidelberg team had a rethink about their restoration plan on the banks of the River Trent. They switched from water sports to a visionary and imaginative natural landscape of floodplain forest and wetlands. The land has been directly linked to the main river and shaped to provide dynamic water levels with scrapes, bank cliffs, channels and oxbow lakes, which crucially help to manage floodwaters on the River Trent.
Probably the main feature we are pushing, and there's always a certain amount of risk to that, is we basically allow the River Trent to connect directly with this site. We encourage the flooding, but also down certain channels. When it overspills in winter, it actually runs into the lakes, which act as a plunge pool, taking the energy out. It's then diverted through the site, so we're making the most of that flood water as it meanders through the site. As far as lessons from the site, it's certainly that the potential for erosion of the site with the river being attracted in is coped with by making sure you have vegetation cover as soon as possible. But overall, it's getting the floodplain woodland established, and the grasslands and the reeds in particular, so that you're cushioning the energy of the flooding when it occurs.
The site sits in the 200 square mile National Forest, which stretches across Staffordshire, Derbyshire and Leicestershire. The National Forest says Barton is making a contribution to landscape scale change, and Staffordshire Wildlife Trust surveys have shown it's now a biodiversity hotspot. We're now in Staffordshire moorlands to see the decade-long restoration of limestone grassland. It's a UK priority habitat that's been badly impacted by farming and development. Former areas of operation, including worked benches of the site, are part of a significant programme to deliver calcareous grasslands. The delivery of this rare and challenging habitat is happening via an impressive programme of translocating and careful reinstatement of turf, and by applying green hay.
Basically, the site is divided by two quarries, but we're working on creating from some fantastic calcareous grassland between two sites.
The scale of the sites also allow for experimental habitat creation, as the company seeks to deliver a wider landscape scale restoration. The team have even tested the efficiency of different pieces of machinery to discover which works best when it comes to moving the turf from donor sites. At a hard rock quarry, restoration and conservation of nature takes time. The passion and commitment from everyone including quarry workers, management and consultants, is contributing to the success of the project.
Fundamental to the whole initiative is the fact that the type of grassland that is developed in the areas that have been translocated is irreplaceable habitat. This is grassland which, in terms of biodiversity, is probably the most species-rich type of vegetation and habitat in the British environment.
Next, we're close to a former Viking settlement beside Loch Linney in the west of Scotland.
The woodland creation project that Agri Industries have put in here is approximately 64 hectares. That's 105,000 trees that were planted, and there's 4 kilometres of deer fence which goes right round the perimeter of the site. We have a biodiversity plan, and one of the actions in the biodiversity plan was to increase the amount of woodland on the estate. The woodland creation was a mixture. We talk about upland, oak, woodland, but there's 3 priority habitats. You've got birch, oak and wetland. The woodland project also incorporates a number of water sources running through the site, and they in their own right create habitat.
The wildlife here is fantastic. It really is. You've got this sort of star personalities like golden eagles and seagulls and the deer and badgers and pine martens, but as I get older, the things that I personally like are the small things, like the myriad of butterflies and dragonflies that are here at times of the year, and things like slow worms and adders and all the small things that exist here in abundance.
The team working on the project has overcome tough challenges at this remote site and on tricky terrain. The restoration wasn't a planning permission requirement, and it demonstrates a real commitment to restoring nature. At the confluence of the rivers Trent and Dove, phased working and progressive restoration at Willington Quarry has created a landscape that's mature and thriving.
I think the key factors that influenced it was the fact that it used to be agricultural land, and we wanted to restore it back to wetland grassland, which are part of a continuation from Derbyshire Wildlife Trust, which will complement their existing nature reserve.
Flooding is a natural challenge, but it's also an opportunity for restoration to a mosaic of habitats, and campaign working ensures that operations continue year-round.
So the flooding did have a massive impact on the design part of the restoration, and naturally with flooding the restoration found its own way.
These dynamic water levels have allowed for a diverse restoration, featuring lakes, pasture, hedgerows and new planting areas, including innovative black poplar trials. With Derbyshire Wildlife Trust managing adjacent land, the long-term vision is a consolidated floodplain restoration.
The restoration that we've created at Willington Quarry puts a message out that from an industry, and it just demonstrates that yes, we may come in and extract sand and gravel, but it's a testimony to the industry in the way that we do put it back better than what it was previously.
We now travel to Cambridgeshire to visit Little Paxton Quarry, where open water, islands, reed beds, wet grassland and woodland are being created next to the Paxton Pits Nature Reserve.
Basically, this was a quarry site in 1992, and we've been working with the steering group on restoring this site to wetland and scrub area and open water. The total area of the nature reserve is 265 hectares approx, and basically we will be adding 10 hectares of new reed bed to that. All this is being driven by the steering group, and around that comes out the work for the reserve to be managed by the Friends of Paxton Pits and HDC.
Yeah, so I work for the Parks and Countryside section of Huntingdonshire District Council, and we're really excited about the future for this site because we've got this lovely extension to the reserve. It's going to be over 700 acres in total, and we've got a really long-standing partnership with Aggregate Industries and working with them over the years to make sure that this is just restored as best it can be really for wildlife. And it's going to be a huge community benefit as well. The villages nearby, they'll be able to walk here and enjoy this amazing site. We've got the bird hides they can come into as well. It's like a jewel in the crown, really.
It's a big, wide, open, wild space that is open for everyone to enjoy. What could be better than sunny afternoon in September staring out over a lake like this?
Is working with local communities and partners. That is focus, that is key to creating the habitat right.
We've got the river running alongside, we've got obviously the lakes, we've got grassland, we've got, so much here.
Personally, I've worked in quarrying for 32 years, and biodiversity when I started wasn't really an issue, and it has progressed, and it's just creating some fantastic habitats and well-being of people that come to these reserves to enjoy it. And that's what I'm looking forward to when I retire.
We're now in the east of Scotland near Forfar at Powmire, where osprey, grey heron and sand martins have found a home in a glittering mosaic of habitats. This progressive restoration scheme is guided by and will contribute to the local biodiversity action plan. Woodland, grassland, scattered scrub hedges and trees are tailored to attract wildlife. The quarry links with existing wetland to create a great space for nature. The restoration also includes a fishing lochen with marginal wetland and wildflower meadows. There'll also be pathways and a fishing platform.
This is quite a big loch compared to what you would normally see. I would say it's unique in this area. I think we're having the loch here. We are seeing more and more wildlife every year on year. It just seems to be increasing. You see Canada geese coming in. We'll get various species of duck that's coming into this lagoon. We see the ring plover coming in here. Sand martins visit here every year, and we do have a guy comes in and he rings the marsh harrier chicks. So he's seen some of the ring birds down on the reed beds on the Tay, so they're obviously moving from here down to there, so it's quite interesting.